YouTube viewers to just drop a note in the comments section and let us know where it is that you are viewing from. Our unison reading for today is from the selected stanzas of our Declaration of Principles from Living the Science of Mind. And this week we're highlighting what it does, which is the fourth significant concept or aspect of God that is offered by our founder, Ernest Holmes. So I invite us now to read this together. We believe in the healing of the sick through the power of this mind. We believe in the control of conditions through the power of this mind. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all. We believe in our own soul, our own spirit, and our own destiny, for we understand that the life of all is God. Thank you. Today we are concluding our January series, A Grand Rising. However, we will be referring back to this phrase and this concept periodically throughout the year because this is our annual theme for 2024, A Grand Rising. And our topic today is feeling good. We're at the beginning of the season for nonviolence, and this is a time that we celebrate the life and legacy of Arun Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. And they offer to us examples of love and light in a world that sometimes seems devoid of those items. We use this love and light fueled with the energy of a collective grand rising, remembering that our voices matter. Collectively, we are changing the world. With our thoughts, with our actions, with our words, with our deeds, we are making a difference in the world. And as we start each day with the Grand Rising, we create a ripple effect in our communities. We step out of our comfort zones and we lean into our healing work. We share our truth and we co-create a world that works for everyone right where they are. During our unison readings this month, I have invited us to question the belief statements that are in our Declaration of Principles. This document emerged from an interview with Ernest Holmes and was first printed as What I Believe. Later, it was changed to What We Believe, and currently we know it as the Declaration of Principles. And so this morning, I'm inviting us to extend this questioning beyond just our spiritual practices and principles, and extend this belief inquiry into the world arena that is around us by questioning everything. Questioning everything. The news media, print, online, radio, social media, television, or any other sources where opinions about the state of the world are posted. Both Euripides and Socrates offered these ideas about questioning everything. Euripides said, question everything, learn something, answer nothing. Wise counsel. One of my teachers when I was coming through my studies in preparation for becoming a practitioner was sometimes reluctant to answer things. And we would always say, why don't you give us an answer? And the response would usually be, well, let me think about it. And so that was one way of responding to this idea of answer nothing. Socrates said, one's first step in wisdom is to question everything. And one's last step is to come to terms with everything. So we question and we come to terms with. And we use our own intuition to make the distinction and to gain clarity around things that are happening around us. Approaching this question, how do we create a world that works for everyone? We turn to Ernest Holmes' Sermon by the Sea at Asilomar. And I am using gender inclusive language for my offering this morning. Ernest says, find me one person who is for something and against nothing, who is redeemed enough not to condemn others out of the burden of their soul, and I will find another Savior, another Jesus, an exalted human being. Find me one person who no longer has a fear of the universe or of God or humanity or anything else, and you will have brought to me someone in whose presence I may sit, and fear shall vanish as the clouds before the sunlight. Find me someone who has redeemed their own soul, and they shall become my Redeemer. Find me someone who has given all that they have in love, without morbidity, and I will have found the lover of my soul. And so my takeaway from this excerpt from the Sermon by the Sea is that Holmes is inviting us as best we can to live by example, the example of our values, the example of our own boundaries, and to be for something and against nothing, and to inspire others to do the same. Inspire, not cajole, not coerce, not attempt to force, but just be that inspiration. And doing so is how we lean into our collective grand rising. Loving ourselves and each other is essential to our Science of Mind New Thought teaching. Our centers offer a platform for us to practice for something against nothing, advocating for the growth and inclusion of all people, even when others fight so hard against the inclusion. This is our opportunity for each other to lean into the beliefs that serve us while holding the space and love for people who may disagree or offer different perspectives. I came across this reading that I want to share with you this morning on the internet. It's called Worst Day Ever. And I think it's an example of how we can lean into what our belief system is and question it at the same time, and yet come out with an exciting result. So, this poem was written by 11th grader Charlie Gorkin, and it was originally written as a school assignment and ended up going viral after it was posted in a London bar. We never know the source of the inspiration. Today was the absolute worst day ever, he writes. And don't try to convince me that there is something good in every day. Because when you take a closer look, the world is a pretty evil place. Even if goodness does shine through once in a while, satisfaction and happiness don't last. And it's not true that it's all in the mind and heart, because true happiness can be obtained only if one's surroundings are good. It's not true that good exists. I'm sure you can agree that reality creates my attitude. It's all beyond my control. And you will never in a million years hear me say that today was a good day. Now, the key to this is to read it from the bottom up and to hear the difference. Today is a good day. And you will never in a million years hear me say that it's all beyond my control. My attitude creates my reality. I'm sure you can agree that it's not true that good exists. Only if one's surroundings are good, true happiness can be obtained, because it's all in the mind and heart. Satisfaction and happiness don't last. Sometimes goodness does shine through once in a while, even if the world is a pretty evil place. Because when you take a closer look, there's something good in every day. And don't try to convince me that today was the absolute worst day ever. Today is a good day. Isn't that an interesting, reversing the way we read something? It ties in with questioning everything. By fearlessly living our truth out loud, we lead with love and understanding, and we trust in spirit more fiercely than ever before. As we practice advocating for our beliefs and expressing love for everything else, we consciously co-create a world that feels good for everyone. Dr. Cedar Barstow writes this in Right Use of Power. Being accountable for our behavior and caring about our impact on others brings a deeper and more authentic relationship. Peace of mind and a heart follow naturally. A world that works for everyone is a tagline that describes our global purpose. But how does this look? Are we seeing the world as we want it to be? And this is a question that I frequently ask. And it is a question that is up for discussion within our communities. How do we know that the world is not working for everyone just as it is? Are we seeing the world through the eyes of the way we want it to be or the way it is? One of the ways that we can approach this is by honoring diverse voices. And this must be the core of our movement and our philosophy. And we may ask, what are the opportunities that exist right here in our Monterey Spiritual Center to expand an inclusive space for people from all walks of life, beliefs, and ideologies to feel welcome here? Now, we do a good job with our guests who come in for the first time or for repeat. Someone said after you've been here for 3 times, you're no longer a guest, you're part of the family. And so we do a good job for those who stay with us and fellowship with coffee and snacks by engaging them. The question is, no, it's more of a question. It's not so much a question, but it's more of a practice. Letting go of the idea that we need to get more diversity into our center or into any of our centers. We shift to realize the value of attracting and serving. So we're not out to get, we're about attracting, bringing in, and serving diverse people beyond those who just come in through the door. And a reminder, and this has been a big mistake that has been made in the conversation of diversity since its inception. Diversity is not limited to the presence of people of color. Because within this room, within this very room right now, if we each had an opportunity to talk about our experiences in life, we would discover the diversity that lives right here. Our cultural differences, our places of origin differences, the unique values that we bring to our life experiences that we bring into this experience. So we are embracing diversity now. And the question is, where do we find value in attracting more people and serving? So the key is attracting and serving. We teach the principles of science and mind and spirit, creating a healing place for people to be refreshed, restored, and renewed to face daily living better. There are centers that choose to avoid hot-button topics and political conversations. They choose to avoid those and create a peaceful environment. And someone has challenged us to include those hot-button topics in those political conversations. But I believe, and this is what I believe, that building a peaceful inner environment, building that peace within our own being, our own essence, is vitally important because it equips us to be the change that we wish to see in the world. And this, my friends, is not spiritual bypass. when we have an inner peace, an inner joy, an inner excitement for living life, then we are equipped to embrace, to welcome in, and to be with those who represent this vast rainbow of diversity that makes up this universe, that makes up the planet. Author Bell Hooks, who recently made her transition, wrote this in All About Love, New Visions. The heart of justice is truth-telling, seeing ourselves and the world the way it is rather than the way we want it to be. So this is a shift. The vision is to see a world that works for everyone. And our job, or our role in that, if you will, is to see the world as it is and to ask, how can I make a difference? How can I be the change that I wish to see in the world? And people don't always follow our words. They observe our behavior and they observe our actions. And so this is where we're invited to be the change that we wish to see. It all starts within. And a collective grand rising. The rise of the internet has expanded our ability to connect globally and communicate more efficiently, setting the tone for a global shift. And I'm so grateful for the technology. You know, we started with just Zoom as a result of the pandemic. We Zoomed within our own family, and through a process of outreach, we engaged others who have joined us via Zoom. Some occasionally drop in, and there are others who join us regularly. And I'm grateful for everyone who joins us via Zoom. With the expansion of technology, with the expansion of our tech team, which I dearly love and salute and express sincere gratitude to, we've been able to expand our technology now to broadcast a portion of our service on Facebook and on our YouTube channel. And I'm grateful for the subscribers that are following us and that we are following other centers and spreading this word of the good news of this collective grand rising. We are witnessing in this grand rising archaic structures being dismantled across the entire planet. This is a time of change, and change brings about unrest and uneasiness. Expanding our practices of non-judgment, inclusion, loving kindness, and peace within our own communities. Shine, lead, and co-create a collective grand rising. Author, speaker, politician, and spiritual guide Marianne Williamson writes this in Return to Love. Humanity is a group of infinitely powerful creatures. Humanity is a group of infinitely powerful creatures. We all have power within our own rights. I remember when I was working in corporate, there were times where people would say of me that, you know, you have vast power, you know, stand in your power. And this is before I became a student of science of mind and spirit. The model of power that I saw in corporate was one of control and fear. And that did not resonate within my own essence and my own being. And so even before being introduced to the practices of science of mind, there was something within me that was exploring and expanding and wanting a new idea, a new perspective. And so after coming into science of mind and beginning to embrace and embody and practice these principles, I've learned a new concept of power. And power is to stand in the awesome awareness that I am, you are, we are individualized expressions of pure spirit, and that we are living and created in the idea and the essence of love. And so our conclusion and our call to action this morning is to remember that being the change we wish to see in the world, the best way to co-create a world that works for everyone is to co-create a world community where everyone feels welcome, supported, and this requires us to think differently. Inclusion is a nice little buzzword that we use, and we say, okay, we invite everyone, we include them. When everyone comes in, do we create a space at our table? Do we add additional leaves to the table and add additional chairs along with place settings so that we do in fact include everyone who comes into our space? And it's not just our centers, it's in our personal spaces also. To be for something and against nothing requires us to lead with love, to participate in healing discussions, to take responsibility for our individual healing, and to be the change that we wish to see starting in our own homes, in our own environments, in our own settings. It is incumbent upon all of us to invest the time and the effort to ensure diverse people are feeling good and receiving spiritual food in our centers. We cannot do this through offering one event or a series of events to accomplish this. Once they arrive, as I've indicated earlier, it is our responsibility to create an environment where everyone feels empowered, supported, celebrated, and sit at the community table. And applying this practical application, let us now share together our affirmation for the week. Let's say this together. I am co-creating a world that works for everyone. Let's say that again. I am co-creating a world that works for everyone. And I invite us to just take in a breath together as we pause and allow what has been spoken to resonate with the essence of our being. As we begin to anchor these words in our affirmation of knowing that I am the change that I wish to see in the world. I know and recognize and embody and embrace the all-prevailing presence of Spirit. It is the essence of my life. It is the essence of each life that is here in our center, the life of those who are viewing us via technology. This one life permeates through everything. It creates out of itself, but is not absorbed by its creation. And so I speak my word this morning, beginning with gratitude. Gratitude for this new day, this new beginning, this grand rising, to experience the love, the joy, the power, the compassion, the intuitiveness that life offers each moment. And as I focus my attention on the present moment, just giving thanks for being here right now, I let go of what has occurred in the past, the mistakes, the regrets, even the joys of what has happened in the past. And I focus my attention on right here, right now, letting go of projecting into the future, which has not yet occurred. Being present here and now, I experience the essence of love that is who I am. And as I declare and affirm this truth for myself, I declare it and affirm it for all people, knowing that as we travel this path, this journey called life, that there are points where our path is parallel, there are points where we intersect, there are points where we come to a fork in the road. And sometimes at that fork in the road, ego is telling us to turn right. Spirit is telling us to turn left. yielding and following the guidance of Spirit, I turn to the left. And what I experience is the joy and the excitement of living this life, knowing that everything is always unfolding in divine, right, and perfect order in my life. And again, as this is true for me, it is true for all. I bless places where people are gathering in the name and nature of the one love, the one heart, the one mind, the one body, knowing that there are many paths that lead to the truth, and we're all on a journey from this material experience into our spiritual uniqueness and our spiritual oneness. I speak a word of blessing this morning for those who are experiencing life opportunities, life challenges, life decisions, whatever it is that an individual may be dealing with. I'm knowing that through the power of prayer, through the power of spiritual discernment, listening within, and following the direction and the guidance of Spirit, everything flows in divine, right, and perfect order, revealing itself as whatever it is that is required to live a full life and a full expression of Spirit. And so for this, and for so much more, I give thanks. Releasing this word back into the law, which always says yes, I know that it is done and it is complete. And if any of what I have said resonates with you in any way, please affirm it with me as we say, and so it is. And so it is. Just a quick reminder to not take a problem home with you. We have prayer requests on our prayer table. I invite you to fill one of those out and leave it in our prayer chest so that the ministers and the practitioners can be in prayer with you and prayer for you. We also have partnered with our World Ministry of Prayer through the Centers for Spiritual Living. That information can be found on our website and also in our newsletter. We also partner with Silent Unity, and that information is on our website and in our newsletter. And now it is time for us to participate in the circulation and the flow of abundance in our lives through our tithes and our offerings. We have a statement of abundance, an affirmation of abundance. Let us say that together. I recognize the presence of God within as the source of my abundance. Out of my abundance consciousness flows everything I could desire in life. With gratitude and thanksgiving, I now participate in the flow of uninterrupted abundance. This prosperous experience is evidence of my abundance consciousness. And in deep gratitude for the way that you continue to support this spiritual community, you may mail in your donations, and that information is on our screen. You may text to give, and that information is on our screen. You may also donate online. And we also have set up an account with Venmo. Yes, thank you. And we will include that as an additional way of supporting our center. Just a few pieces of information to share with our larger community. Today, following service, for those of you who are here at the center, is our spiritual living discussion group. And there is, Denise has prepared for us some hearty snacks, and there's coffee and tea, so we invite you to stay for the fellowship and participate in the spiritual living discussion conversation. And the conversations are based on articles in the Science of Mind magazine. And there are copies still available of the January and February combined issue of the magazine. on our hospitality table for a donation of $10. And for those of you who are viewing online, we encourage you to subscribe to the Science of Mind magazine and read through the articles in there that offer to empower and uplift our spirits and provide guidance for us to truly be the change that we wish to see in the world. Also, our Centers for Spiritual Living annual convention is meeting in Charlotte, South Carolina, and there's Charleston. Thank you. I get those two confused, and I know they're two different cities, possibly in two different states. But the annual meeting is, could you give me those dates again, please? February 19th through 22nd. I will be attending the annual meeting virtually, but I will be out of the office those days of the convention. So I just want to put that out there for you. The Season for Nonviolence began on, I believe it was Thursday. Yeah, and there is a link in the newsletter if you would like to practice the 64 Days and 64 Ways, which is sponsored by the King Gandhi Foundation for Nonviolence. You may do so. And also to save the date for our Infinite Possibilities class, which is taking place on Tuesdays, February 27th, March 5th, and March 12th. And we will have more information for you as we go along. And so to our Facebook and YouTube family, we say thank you for joining us, and we invite you to like, subscribe, and share, and also comment as we spread this good news of the joy of living as a spiritual being throughout this life. We invite you to return next Sunday as we begin our February series, which is Divine Discomfort. And the topic of next Sunday's discussion is Lessons in Uncomfortability. Lessons in Uncomfortability. You know, even before I entered ministerial school, it was often said that the role of the minister is to comfort the afflicted and to afflict the comfortable. And so as we move through this thing called life together and collectively, we bring comfort to one another and we encourage one another to move out of that comfort zone. And if it's just a little bit, I like to use the analogy of, and I'm dating myself, remember the Polaroid cameras where you took the flash and then when it came out, you watched it slowly develop? Sometimes we move out of our comfort zones in that manner. But what is required is that we are moving. So we say good morning to our virtual family, and we look forward to seeing you next week.